What's up, YouTube? This is the 82 and 0 podcast. Continuing on, today we're going to talk about Jason Kidd. Now, he was born March 23rd, 1973, and he was born in San Francisco, but he was raised in Oakland. His father, Steve, and his mother, Ann, raised him in a basketball playing house. As a youth, Kidd was highly scouted at AAU teams and tournaments, garnering various All-Star awards and MVP awards. He attended the East Oakland Youth Development Center and frequently the City Courts of Oakland, where he found himself pitted against future NBA star Gary Payton. Now, at St. Joseph Notre Dame High School in Aladema, under the guidance of Coach Frank Laporte, Kidd led the Pilots to consecutive state championships, averaging 25 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, and 7 steals in his senior year. During that year, he also received a host of individual honors, including the Naismith Award and the nation's top high school player, and he was named Player of the Year by Parade in USA Today. The all-time prep leader in assists. After a highly criticized recruiting process, Kidd shocked many fans and pundits alike by choosing to attend the nearby University of California in Berkeley, a school that was coming off a 10-18 season and had not won a conference title since 1960. Over a number of top-ranked colleges. Now, Kidd had a pretty good college career. In his first year for the Golden Bears, he averaged 13 points, 7 assists, 4.9 rebounds, and 3.8 steals, and it earned him the National Freshman of the Year honors and a spot on the All-American Pac-10 team. His 110 steals set an NCAA record for the most steals by a freshman and set a school record for most steals in a season. Kidd continued his success as a sophomore with 16.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 3.1 steals and 9.1 assists, breaking his previous record for most assists in a season. So, Kidd was also named for finalist for both the Naismith and Wooden Award as a college basketball top player, and subsequently opted to enter the 1994 NBA draft. Now, you gotta understand that in the 94 draft, there were two players that were heavily touted. It was Jason Kidd and Grant Hill from Duke. And Kidd ended up going second, and he was drafted to the Dallas Mavericks. Glenn Robinson of Purdue was just ahead of Duke's Grant Hill. So he was second after Glenn Robinson and just before Grant Hill. But he'd have a pretty good rookie campaign, putting up 11.7 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, and 7.7 assists, and led the NBA in triple-doubles. And he actually shared Rookie of the Year honors with Grant Hill because they both finished as a tie in the voting. Now, in the following season, Kidd became an All-Star. And not only that, he was a starter in the 96 All-Star game. In his first 2 years with the Mavericks, he gained a lot of popularity. And this Mavericks team was never really good at this point. And they were known as a pretty young up-and-coming team. And they were nicknamed the 3 J's because he was playing with Jim Jackson and Jamal Mashburn. So Jason Kidd, 3 J's. And they just had a lot of drama in their team. I remember hearing a story that I think it was Jim Jackson. Somebody can correct me on this if I'm wrong. I think it was Jim Jackson and Jason Kidd. They got into not like a fight, like fist, but argument over a girl. And he had problems with Jason Kidd had problems with the coaches, and they just wanted to get rid of him altogether. So he was traded to the Phoenix Suns with Tony Dumas, and Lauren Meyer for Michael Finley and AC Green and Sam Cassell during the 96-97 season. In his first full season with the Suns in 97-98, the team's win total improved by 16 games. And the Suns finished with a record of 56-26. And they had a really fast style of play. And they went like small ball. And it's crazy because Kevin Johnson was still on this team at this point, and Steve Nash was over on this team. So you had Steve Nash, Kevin Johnson, and Jason Kidd all playing on one team. Yeah, it's not going to work when you have that many point guards. But they also had Antonio McDyess playing the center. Now, in the 98-99 season, Kidd averaged 10.8 assists per game, and he was the leader that year. He also led the NBA with 7 triple-doubles. So, for anyone who doesn't know, the Suns acquired Penny Hardaway from the Orlando Magic before the start of the 99-2000 season in hope of creating the best backcourt in the NBA, because they were going to put Penny at the shooting guard and Kidd at the point. By this time, Steve Nash was already gone. I think they traded him that year, And people didn't know that Penny Hardaway was going to drop off. Okay, I know in hindsight, you're like, well, that never worked. But Penny Hardaway was a pretty huge star, so they wanted to try to make it work. Despite a decent 53-29 record, the Suns' season was spoiled by injuries to both of their superstars. Kidd, who broke his ankle late in the regular season, returned during the playoffs to help his team to beat the defeating champion San Antonio Spurs and advance to the second round for the first time in his career. Although they would lose in the second round, and I want to mention too, this San Antonio Spurs team that they beat was out without Tim Duncan, and they would lose in the second round to the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, in the 2000-2001 season, Kidd had a bunch of personal problems. I don't know if I want to get into this on this video. I don't like to mention players' legal issues. If you guys want to go research what happened, you can. But anyways, I'll say he was dealing with legal problems. Okay, let's just leave it at that. And the Suns were struggling in about the middle of the season, but they finished off with a 15-6 record to secure another 50-win season. Kidd took on more of the offensive load after his teammates encouraged him to be more selfish, and he recorded 30-plus points 6 times or more that year. And he started improving his shooting that year, I want to mention. During his stay in Phoenix, Kidd was made an All-Star in 1998, 2000, and 2001. But I want to mention in 1999, they didn't have the All-Star game that year. Otherwise, he probably would have been one that year. And he was an All-NBA first team 3 years in a row, 99 to 2001. Now let's talk about what happens next. Because 2000-2001 would be his final season with the Phoenix Suns. And the Phoenix Suns would trade him with Chris Dudley to the New Jersey Nets for Stephon Marbury and Johnny Newman. So, in hindsight, that's pretty lopsided. But on June 28, 2001, after 5 seasons, like I said, they traded him. And so he goes to the New Jersey Nets. And right away, he makes an impact with the team. Kenyon Martin was there, Kerry Kittles, Keith Van Horn. They also had a rookie, Richard Jefferson, who's a great player. Jason Collins was there. He was a good center. Brandon Armstrong, Eddie Griffin. So his first season there in the 01-02 season, Kidd led the Nets to a 52-30 finish, which is a 26-game improvement from the season before. And It was the first 50-win season in the franchise's history, as far as in the NBA. And he was voted to the All NBA first team, finishing in second place in the MVP voting behind Tim Duncan. Many critics and fans have argued that Kidd deserved it for how he turned his team around. And I hate to say this as a Spurs fan, but they're probably right. You know? Anyways, this young Nets team would go all the way to the NBA Finals. And it was the franchise's first appearance in the NBA Finals. I'm not talking about the ABA, but the NBA. And, they had a good run. They defeated the Pacers and Hornets, but they were just no match against the Los Angeles Lakers. And the Lakers beat the living shit out of them in the finals. They swept them 4-0. So, it's unfortunate. Now, going into the 02-03 season, Kidd ran it back. So they go back to the finals again. And he led the team in assists with 8.9 per game. And he was selected the All-NBA second team. And they go back to the finals. And this one was more competitive. This time they played the San Antonio Spurs in the 2003 finals. And this was a little more competitive. It went to 6 games, but the Spurs ended up winning it. Now, in the 03-04 season, he was as an unrestricted free agent in the 2003 offseason. He almost signed with the San Antonio Spurs. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. And he probably would have won multiple championships there. However, he chose to stay with the Nets and signed a 6-year, $99 million deal. In the 03-04 season, Kidd averaged 15.5 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, and 9.2 assists. And they wouldn't make it back to the finals. They would lose to the Detroit Pistons. Now, as far as the 04-05 season, Kidd had a microfracture surgery to repair a damaged knee. And he made a full recovery in the return on the court for the 04-05 season in December during the Nets. And this is when the Nets acquired Vince Carter. Now, I remember during this time, as a kid, I thought Vince Carter and Jason Kidd was like going to be the best duo of all time. I was young. I thought, wow, they're going to win a championship for sure, And they also had Richard Jefferson, I want to mention, who developed into a pretty good player. So Carter was putting up 27 points, Jefferson 22 points, Kidd was averaging 7 rebounds and 8 assists, but they only finished 42-40 and they lost in the first round. Now 05-06, they go 49-33 and they make it to the second round, but they lose to the Miami Heat. So I'm just going to close it with that as far as his Nets days. He didn't have much success after that, no more finals trips. Now, his final year with the Nets would come in the 06-07 season. Or 07-08, I mean. And, he was traded mid-season to Dallas. And I also want to mention he got a gold medal in the Olympics in 2008. And this time of his career, he was more mature in this stint with Dallas. He was wanting a ring. So his first couple seasons there, they couldn't get it done. And it wasn't until the 2010-11 season at the age of 37 that Dallas would win a championship. And that would be Jason Kidd's only championship of his career. And he put up 8.2 assists, 1.7 steals. And he was the starting point guard. And the following season would be his last year with Dallas. And the season after that, in 12-13, he'd play with the Knicks to finish out his career. And the Knicks were good on paper. This was one of the best Knicks teams of the Carmelo Anthony era. They went 54-28, although they would lose in the second round, and Jason Kidd wouldn't score a single basket that entire series. So he knew it was time to give it up, and he retired. And ever since then, he's been coaching. Right now, he's the coach of the Dallas Mavericks. He's had coaching stints with the Bucks, Nets. So that's Jason Kidd, Hall of Fame point guard. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks for watching.